Hey, I just got back from lunch. Did you finish that report yet?
Well, not exactly. Still working on it. I'm not finished just yet. I got a little sidetracked, but I will get them to you first thing this afternoon.
It is first thing this afternoon.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I am working on
But
it. I'll have.
what do you mean that the report isn't finished yet?
I'm still in the process of working on it. I've just been a little distracted.
Distracted. Our meeting starts in an hour.
I can have it.
No. What were you doing? Were you listening to another hunting podcast again? I swear, I give the staff in this office the freedom to do whatever they want to do as long as they meet a deadline. That is the first bullet underneath your job description. Pays attention to detail and deadlines. And deadlines. With emphasis of Dude, are you even listening to me right now?
Welcome to episode 162 of the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. My name's Austin, and joining me in my garage, Chuck and Joe. What's up, dudes?
What's up, buddy?
What's happening, man?
Oh, nothing, man. Beautiful night.
It is a beautiful night. Chilling.
Nice and chilly outside. Chilling, and it's chilly.
It's been rainy all day, man.
It has.
Kind of ugly. Just going to try to shoot some guns, sight some guns in. PA rifle coming up.
I need to shoot my gun just to make sure. I know it's on, but
Yeah.
just want to be sure.
Trying to bring my little cousin out of retirement, get him back out there. So,
Nice.
yep, brought him out tonight. Looks like he's got the clear for the weekend from work. He's got his license. He's got tags.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I really messed with my scope at all, but you know how that is. You don't do it and then get screwed.
You boys are freaking doe hunting this weekend, eh?
That's it.
Freezer filling time.
Yes,
Got
sir.
Four more tags if I want.
I got 5.
Save one, because I do have a D-map. I want to go up for Flintlock.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I am not going to fill all 4 tags. You're
I'm
out your
just
damn
saying,
mind.
save one.
I mean, those things are crazy.
Let's go Flintlock. It's been a while.
Yeah, I think I got 5 tags up there this year. I got a little crazy.
Good gravy.
Normally I get I think 4. But
I have 4.
yeah, the one I was getting for a while there, I always had big plans to hunt it again, and I just wasn't worth it, you know.
Yeah.
Wasn't hitting up that spot at all, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to it though.
That's going to be fun.
Gonna be a bunch of people up camp.
You're going to have the camp vibe going on.
For sure.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
It's always a good time.
Yeah, we got a good group of guys going, I believe. So should be fun. Other than Sabelli, wouldn't call him a good person.
I gotta be so mean all the time. Just unbelievable.
He asked for it, man.
Well,
Sometimes.
I guess since we're talking about other people, we might as well jump right into this. We have a lot of updates of deer killed since the last recording of a podcast. There's been a lot.
It's been a while, guys. It's been a few weeks, but it's been deer season and we've been hunting and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of state, everything else.
yeah.
It's been crazy. So we apologize. Hey, sorry. You know, it's what we do. It's what we love to do. But we got a bunch of people that killed deer. First off, we teased on our story and we never actually posted a picture because I was waiting for Russ to post a picture of his own, but I guess he's just not going to do that on social media. So Russ killed, it was hinted on our story that a legend had fallen. Yeah.
Too soon, bro. Too soon.
Russ is, he killed the number 1 of the last 2 years. He killed Teardrop.
Boy.
But his teardrop was broken.
Is
You boys look so sad.
down.
You look so sad.
Do you have any
Heartbroken.
idea how
The
happy
worst
I was
part
when I
about
would
it
get
is
that picture of Teardrop on my camera? I'm like, that's what my day was looking forward to.
At least
We'll
your
get into
brother
that
killed
later.
it, not like a duchy
We'll
or
get into
something.
it later.
Damn, boy.
we'll get into it
Get
later.
into it. But anyways,
Go on.
Teardrop has fallen. Great buck.
Great buck.
Phenomenal buck.
R.I.P., bro.
Stupid nice buck. Graybeard killed a slaughter doe
Oh, he did
in the last
too.
couple days up in Kentucky. We have Herb. Herb recently killed a doe.
Did he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he posted in the other group. But if you've seen the picture he posted in our,
Yeah, it wasn't anything.
you can see it. There's a deer laying there.
I'm
Like,
gonna
you
have
can
to go
literally
back and
barely
look.
see it,
I'm
but
gonna have to go back.
yeah,
and look.
it's like one of those like Where's Waldo things. Like
Yeah.
you can barely see a deer's back laying there on the ground.
I'm gonna have
So
to
he
figure it
killed
out.
doe.
Good man. Good man.
You want to get in on some of these?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Bruce went on a slaughter rampage too, man. Shot 2 doe on a buck. A really nice buck too.
Nice buck. Opening day Missouri rifle.
Opening day Missouri
He
rifle,
went
yeah.
freaking ham.
He did too.
Marty killed a freaking stud buck.
Yeah, he did. Real wide.
Holy cannoli, man. Thing was like Bullwinkle wide. came in with all this stuff in his antlers. He said it was over his face. He couldn't even.
What was the measurement on that?
Oh, God.
23 inches wide or something?
Yeah,
That's
over
what he
23
said, but-
inches wide.
Like his arrows almost couldn't even put his arrow on. It was so wide.
Ron Polo
like,
buck
dude.
over here.
Like, how,
Dude, yeah.
like his arrow has to at least be 28 inches, you would think. Like his thing was barely
Yeah.
sitting on his antlers.
Yeah, dude, he had like 25-inch beams and like 23-inch spread.
That's crazy.
Stupid, ridiculous.
Yeah,
kind
that's
of buck.
crazy.
For Pennsylvania, too.
Yeah,
Like,
wicked nice.
our buddy Bones killed a buck the other night.
Attaboy, Bones.
Yeah, Bones killed a buck. I missed a call from him, too. I meant to call him back. I got to get a call back. But my buddy Adam Carter, who I went to college with, played some college ball with, he killed a nice Ohio buck. And then...
Kyle Allen with a buck
And a bear.
and a bear.
He just posted. He killed a bear, too.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Good for him. That
Yeah, I
boy's on
just
a
saw
roll
that.
with those, man.
His dad shot it, and then they barricaded him in and ended up
Did
shooting
they
it.
barricade
He
him?
barricaded him in,
Yeah, or used that one on his post. I said, good luck. I said, congrats, buddy. I'm happy the barricade worked.
That's the only appropriate time to have a barricade.
That's hilarious. My buddy Dave Evans, another kid I played college ball with, he shot a really nice buck. And then,
Yeah. Oh, Mikey Fennel. Yeah, with a trad buck.
dude, nice trad buck.
Nice trad buck, man. I just watched a video the other night.
Did you? Me too.
Yeah, real nice. Real nice.
We're actually thinking about switching some of our mock scrapes to vines.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Try it out. It's
We have
something
the
to
rope,
try.
It's not working, so we're going to try to change it to a vine.
Yeah.
There's a vine like right there on the property. We're just going to cut it and
Oh, yeah.
hang it.
Grapevines, dude.
Yeah, it'll be natural.
Sweet. I like it.
Seaburn shot a nice buck too in archery.
Yes, sir.
Like his first or second day off, he had a week off. He killed a buck, and then Sabelli shot his second doe in archery.
Awesome, man.
So I know there's a lot more kills, man. Oh, Matt Talkington's been on a freaking roll.
He has been on the roll, dude.
Rampage.
Dude's killed like 3 bucks in the last week. Like, it feels like he's
He
insane.
killed like $4 this year or something crazy.
He's a nut, dude.
He is, man. He's on a roll. Good for
I
him.
texted him the other day. I said, "You want to leave some freaking deer in West Virginia for the rest of us? Like, come on, man."
That's
How many
awesome,
tags
dude.
they get in West Virginia? In buck
Well,
tag?
technically, you can kill, I think, $3 in West Virginia, and maybe a fourth. But if you get the tag, you can kill one in archery, you can kill one in gun, you can kill one in muzzleloader, and I'm not sure if you can kill another one or not for some other thing. But as long as you get the tags before the season, I'm pretty sure you can kill at least 3. So
That's
I
wild.
think he's got 2 West Virginia, Ohio, and did you see he actually went back to compound bow too? I was surprised.
I was too.
at that move.
I was too. I
didn't
noticed
see
that too.
coming. Yeah,
In the picture, I was like, "Oh man, good for him."
yeah. He must have got over his little kind of, I don't know what to call it, like a curse. I don't know.
Yeah.
He wasn't having good luck. Put
He
it that
wasn't.
way.
He wasn't.
And,
Oh, I can remember a couple more now too. Actually,
yeah,
this past weekend was opening day of gun season in New York.
cool.
My buddy John Griffith shot a buck, and Levy Curry
Nice.
shot a buck.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And Christian Glover shot a buck. Good for them.
Hey,
It was a good weekend.
Big Booty Bobby shot one too.
Big Booty Bobby shot one. Yeah.
So
Good old Rob, my
dude,
brother-in-law. Very
yeah,
cool.
A lot of deer hitting the ground.
It's
man.
hard to remember all of them, man.
It
People
is.
have been laying them down this year. It's
Yep.
been good.
We've been trying to throw the congrats out there every time I see them, but it's tough, man. There's a ton of people through social media killing deer, and like over the last couple weeks, it's been pretty freaking hot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man, deer are falling everywhere.
We got gun season coming up this weekend. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Probably.
Oh my gosh.
We might have to keep this the buck only.
Yeah. My goodness gracious.
But congrats to everyone that killed. If we missed you, sorry. Again, it's a lot.
We might get you on the next one.
Yeah, we'll try to write it down. I try to write it down as we sit here before the episode starts, and it's just like trying to remember on the spot,
Mhm.
forget things. I'm a bad quiz taker, so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not. Great quiz taker. Quiz
That's
me.
all right.
Quiz me right now. Quiz no sub. That's
Where'd you
so
get
good
that,
because they're delicious.
Where'd you get that slick hat at,
Damn, that's
bro?
not right. I don't even know what hat I'm wearing. Oh, I got this hat from Matt Futere
Yeah.
from VIP Archery. Great
VIP
plug,
Archery.
Joe. Yeah, I went and we ordered some broadheads the other day. Sam wanted some refresh on the combat veterans, and I wanted some more of the commanders. So we bought some broadheads. I bought a hoodie,
Sweet.
and he sent me a hat.
They got a good
sent me
sale
some
going on right now.
stickers. Do they?
Yeah.
Well, I missed it totally.
Did you really?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Oh man, it's like
Black Friday sale?
it might be a Black Friday sale, or it was a pre-Black Friday sale. It was they had stuff like 25% off or something
Nice.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Go get you some broadheads, boys and girls. I mean, it's heck of a deal regardless. Again, I've been more towards the Commander lately, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, the last couple.
You digging the old Commander?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The 150 grain?
No, God, no.
I thought that's what you were shooting.
No, I have them. He sent me those.
They make 100 grain in those?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had him. That's what I had him send me, some 100 grain, and then he sent me a hat and some stickers and stuff.
You're going to ask me about my hat?
Bring it over
I
here.
was going to. Well, he was still talking about the old
I can tell
VIPs,
him
man.
Yeah, where'd you get that hat,
Speaking
Joe?
of Black Friday sales, man, what kind of hat are you wearing?
I got this nice screwy hat. I don't know where I got it. It just showed up at my house one day.
Yeah, my hat. It's funny how all my scree hats have been going to my brothers lately. Joe steals his hat.
I think I told you I was stealing it, and I stole it.
He did. He was upfront about it. And then John shows up.
Long-term
my
borrow.
house. Yeah. John shows up at my house the other day, and I got my two scree hats hanging out on my front porch, like on the railing there in my breezeway. And I'm downstairs doing something, and Dina's yelling, "Can John have one of your hats?" And I couldn't hear the word. I thought she was saying green, like the one you're wearing, because he literally just got a couple hats, the whitetail distraction hats. And I was like, yeah, why? I don't know why he needs another one. He just got one. So I come upstairs. Here, they were saying scree. He took one of my scree hats. It was my Solace scree patch hat. He took it.
Well, he's the same guy that we went bear hunting the one time, and I left a couple of things in his truck on accident, and I didn't know where the things were. You know, I'm like, oh, where did these go? You know, seasons went by, and then I think I was deer hunting with him one year or something, and he's wearing my hat. I'm like, yo, that's my hat, dude. Like, I haven't missed that for like a year or two.
Oh man,
He's just that guy.
Yeah. So my brothers keep stealing
watch
my
your
scree
hats.
But they do have, I think it's what, like 8 hours from now or something, probably by now.
Is there Black Friday sale?
Black
man?
Friday sales coming big. They just dropped an announcement. There's some big sales coming. So.
There are. It's a big Black Friday sale, but on top of that, if you join the Scree Hunt Club, you get an additional 10% off any sale.
Yeah, the Scree Hunt Club is brand new. It's going to be awesome. It's actually a no-brainer. You spend $10 a month, and each month for your $10 subscription, if you will, you automatically get $10 of Scree credit into your account.
Yeah.
So you're not paying for anything.
No.
You're just putting your money basically in a savings account for Scree items later down the road.
Yeah.
$10 a month. And on top of that, you're getting early access into their deals. You're getting early access on new products, which if you didn't see the live today that Locke Willer did on the Scree page, he kind of showed a little bit of some new product coming.
I didn't see it.
He didn't announce it, so I'm not going to announce it. But if you go on that live,
On that live,
it's
go
on
check
their
it out.
story on Scree. You can see it if you caught it.
Yeah. You get entered into exclusive giveaways through the Hunt Club.
Yeah, and discounts and everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Pretty sweet deal.
It's a super sweet deal.
Especially if you haven't like your eye on a piece. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. I mean,
Right.
you're not going to miss $10 a month. Put it in there, and then you have $10 credit every month. Build it up, and then bam! By the time season comes around, get your new piece.
Exactly what I was going to say. Like this time of year is perfect. By the time August, September comes back around, you're going to have $110 in there that you can put towards something.
Yeah.
You can go buy you a Venture Flex pair of pants.
There you go, man.
You can go buy yourself whatever, a nice hard scrabble jacket or vest.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have the money in there that you're going to spend on Scree anyway, so why not do it?
And don't forget to use code WDP20 for 20% off your first purchase.
That's damn straight.
You know what else you can use? The code Distraction10. Get yourself some back 40 seed.
There you go.
Free shipping until the end of the year, gents.
Yeah, that's running out, man. We're getting there towards the end of the year, so
We are, and it's going to come frost seeding season, and you're going to be like, oh man, I need to get some seed. You want to get that, that free shipping right now.
Christmas is around the corner. That person's going to be putting in their food plots in the spring or clover plots in the spring or whatever. I'm just saying, Back 40 Seed Company, get on their website, order it up. What is it called?
Distraction 10.
Distraction 10.
Awesome dudes over there too. You got
There
any
you go.
questions about food plotting or anything like that? Give them a call. They would love to help you out.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, I just turned on a buddy of mine to that. He bought 40 acres up towards where we hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And
Go on.
real nice, but He planted corn this year, and he's like, and he kept the corn up. He's like, yeah, I think the corn's actually kind of screwing me. I'm like, yeah, it is. You need a murder plot. Like, you could shoot over, You're hunting right on the edge of this corn that you're not going to cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
I mean, basically, you're giving the deer a free
I told him I'd
sanctuary.
send him your way. Have you talked to him about it? I was telling him about, like, frost seeding and whatnot.
Tell him to use code distraction.
Easiest thing in the world, man. That frost seeding is so simple.
Yeah.
I helped Mikey Fennel out with his this year, and he put that plot in, and it was freaking great. And then spraying, killing, and planting, but it is. But regardless, it worked.
Yeah.
And that's somebody that didn't do anything but run seed into the ground.
My
Didn't
man.
prep it, didn't do anything. That's it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Seed the soil contact at the right time. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. I like it.
Well-
That's enough of business.
Yeah, we kind of jumped into that thanks to Joe talking shit on some people. One person.
Yeah, one person.
Yeah,
One person. Joe, how you been, buddy?
I've been good other than this borax stuck in my freaking lungs.
Yeah, you're dying over there.
Charles decided to do lines of borax before the...
Yeah, man, I figured we'd spice this up with some bumps of borax.
Some bumps of borax. We got borax on the table for.
Some things happen, man. You want to get into that?
I mean, we can. Or we can't. We can just sit here in silence, too. I'm sure people would love that.
Dead air.
Yeah,
is
man.
always
It
good.
was, what a year. What a year. A roller coaster ride for sure.
Can I just point out that G3 right there looks like it's going to poke me in the eye so long?
There's a G3.
That's the biggest crab
yeah.
claw I ever saw. Yeah. So this season was like, it was a wild one, like I said in the last episode I was on with you guys, like we had bucks daylighting early. It was just a cat and mouse game, and we were just fighting to get stuff done, and Charles ended up getting it done on crooked tine.
Have we told that story on here?
Yeah.
Crooked Tiny episode.
Yeah, that's-
159.
Okay,
That's the one
yeah, we did.
I called in.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
So he got it done on that buck, and then it started getting further and further into the season, man. I didn't have anything in the freezer. I'm just like, man, I need to kill. I need to. So one point I was hunting a historically good spot that I've never actually killed anything there, but over the years of just hunting that property for so many years, we always saw buck activity. Like I pretty much called it like the buck entry to the field or whatever I ended up calling it at the top. So there's just always like a big scrape there. Like the year I shot splits.
You talking about
There's-
Oak Ridge?
Yeah, but like
Well,
the entry
can't
to
be-
the field.
Can't be called Oak Ridge anymore because there's no more oak trees.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's not
sucks.
really Oak Ridge. It's kind of off to the side of it. But
Exo Ridge.
I've hunted
Yeah.
Oak Ridge before, but this is like another 100 yards over, completely
Yeah.
different spot. There's a couple different like paths that don't even lead to Oak Ridge. So I hunted that a couple times over the years and ended up hunting that, and then saw a bunch of deer. It was a pretty cool hunt, and then I had 2 doe come in to about 20 some yards. Ended up, I just was like, I got to do it. I need to get that monkey off my back. So I ended up shooting it, one of those does, and then going on, I was only getting out like 2 days a week maybe, and then like every once in a while I'd call off a day or so. So my rutcation started, and I forget what date that was. It was like probably the 3rd or something like that in November.
That makes sense.
It would have
It was
been
a
the
Friday.
the Friday before daylight savings, which I think daylight savings was like the 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
So he started Friday and then had the whole week off after
Yeah.
daylight savings.
That makes sense.
Yep.
That makes
So yeah, the 3rd was a Friday. So
Mhm.
I took that day off. My wife was going out of town over the weekend. So I'm like, she's like, all right, well, you can hunt Friday morning, but then you're going to be watching the baby all weekend. I'm like, I'm literally giving you one of the best days of the year. I hope you understand this. So I hunted Friday morning. I went out and I went to the murder ladder, and I think I jumped a couple deer in the field walking in. And I even got in super, super early, but it's just, what are you going to do? It's just, there's only one real good entrance.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's a bad entrance.
Yeah,
There's no
It's pretty open.
real good.
There's 2 entrances.
And they're both bad. Yeah, you're either walking dead across it or up the edge of it. So
Yeah.
kicked up a couple deer, nothing serious. And then get up in my stand and drinking coffee, having a good time, and And I look up and it's probably like 15 minutes before legal shooting time. But, you know, I'm in a field so I could see kind of decent. And I look up, I'm like, what the heck is that? And it's just like a blob. So I pull up my binoculars and there's a buck walking right towards me. I'm like, are you kidding me? So it's walking down actually a path that I've never seen him walk down. I actually walked down this path because I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to walk the whole way around. Then maybe they catch my scent, whatever, you know? So I walked down this path and he's walking directly down that path and couldn't really make out anything other than just like a nice frame. And like I said, it was too early to shoot anyways. So I'm like, slow down, do something, you know, like
right.
Give me a little bit of time here. And I saw him, he kind of like hit my scent. And this is weird because like, this is the one time I didn't, usually like I tuck my pant leg into my boots and I just like, maybe my pants are, you know, have some scent on them and they're dragging, whatever. And this is the one day I did not tuck my pants in and I think he hit my scent, you know? So he kind of hit the scent and he's like sniffing the ground and he jumped back. Then he started like walking forward, but he was like real nervous. Went behind this pine tree limb right in front of me, like 30, 40 yards. Never seen him again. I'm like, where'd he go? At one point, I think I might have heard him kind of bound off, but I'm not sure. So sitting the rest of the day and I believe it was like after 9 o'clock, I'm hitting grunts here and there, you know, and I look to my left and there's a buck like 15, 20 yards away, walking right through. I'm like, dude, what the hell is going on right now?
Who are you?
And that's exactly what I said because we had no camera footage of this buck to my memory.
Yeah.
It was a 9-point, which we didn't have any pictures of 9 points this year to my knowledge. And I'm like, dude, who's this guy? And I'm looking at him. I hesitated for a minute. I didn't have really much time because he's walking right through. I can't shoot him right now, but I could shoot him pretty soon. So I got to figure it out like quickly.
Yeah.
And so I hesitated for a minute and then I start looking at him a little bit more. I'm like, I'd really regret not shooting this deer. You know, I'd put him right around Pope and Young. He was a good buck.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He had great brows. He was a little bit short tined, but he was a solid 9-point, you know. So he starts coming out and I range find out ahead of him at 30 yards. So I'm like, okay, he's going to be just under 30 yards. I draw back. He comes out from behind the limb, meep him. He stops. I shoot. I aim with my 25 pin. I aimed right in the middle of his chest. I shoot right over his back. I'm like, what the hell is that all about? And like, I didn't have time to even think about it. Like, just reload and get another shot because he doesn't really know what's going on. So he bounded up a little bit and he got up on another trail and he started coming back towards me. So range find him 48. Okay. Pull back. And I'm just shaking at this point. I'm a freaking mess.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? Like,
oh, yeah.
So I pull back, meep him again, shoot right over his back. And this is where things got a little stupid. And I completely hate myself for this, but he kind of runs off and he kind of disappeared, hit a couple grunts because I could kind of still see him. And he starts coming back in. I'm like, what do I do? You know, like, I just shot like a foot high 2 times in a row. I'm probably hitting a foot high. I'm looking at my bow like, what could be wrong? So I'm like, and this is one of those moments where I should just put my bow down and just gave up. But I ended up, okay, I'll just aim a foot lower. Shot again, right underneath his feet. I'm like, what in the hell is going on, dude? Like, depression at its highest point. Like, I don't know what's going on. So I just got down. I'm like, all right, we're done for today. Got down, tried finding my arrows, found one of them.
Oh, no, you only found one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that high grassy shit. You're not going to find these arrows.
Yep.
So I find one, I leave, went home, shot my bow, everything was fine. So now I'm thinking like, all right, well, the first one could have hit a limb. That's reasonable. Maybe I didn't see one, maybe it hit a limb. Second shot, I ranged it at 42 from where I thought he was standing when I went down there to look for the arrow. So I'm like, oh, that trail looks like it like parallels, but it kind of actually quarters towards me. So maybe he was at 42. I was aiming, 50. So went home, shot, everything was fine. I even shot the target at 42. It was fine. I shot the target at 42, aiming like it's 50. And I shot right over top of the target's back. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's it. limb, whatever.
You're
and
like
then-
troubleshooting everything at this point.
Yeah. So I went out the Mondays. The next day I was able to go out. So I'm like, well, I need to find those arrows. I was watching a baby all weekend. I wasn't able to go out at night to try finding those arrows.
You got to throw the baby in a little chest rig. Dude.
Yeah, that's a good
Bundle 'em
idea.
up.
That's a good, but it's at night, so it's either, she's gonna be sleeping or crying most likely. So I went out Monday morning. I'm like, well, I'll get those arrows. And Charles was like, well, you should go down that bottom. You should go down that bottom. Yeah, I slept in.
It's a good bottom.
I don't have a whole lot of choice here, but just to jump in a ladder, like kind of had a headache going on. Like I don't know if I was getting sick or what the heck was going on at the time, but I just felt like dog shit. So I'm like, I'll find these arrows. I'll get up my tree. I'll still be like 15 minutes early. So he's sending me pictures. There's this little spike chasing around this doe in the bottom on
It's an
his
11
camera.
point, dude.
So as I'm walking in, I hear down in the bottom. And I'm like, that little fucker. He's down there.
He's having a
So-
good old time.
He must have kicked the doe up. And as I'm looking for my arrows, she snorts me and then runs off and walks right past the stand. So I'm like, well, she's hot.
Yeah.
So that scent going past my stand in this whole area, she was standing there for a little bit. Maybe that'll be good. Maybe somebody will pick it up. And then, so I find my 2 arrows. I get up in my stand and that little spike come through. And I start looking more and more at that first shot, that 30-yard shot. I'm like, wide open. Like, what could have happened here? So I had a coyote actually almost attacked that spike. Like I thought he was going to. They were like 20 yards apart at one point. So the coyote's coming in. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be great. Like nice looking coyote. And I pull back, shoot, right over his back. And now I'm like, dude, what's going on?
What is with you, man?
And I'm like, dude, like I've been nailing it 50, nailing. I've been shooting good all year. So I'm like, what is going on here? I keep looking at a 30-yard shot. I'm like, it's wide open. There's nothing that got in the way. So I'm like, you know what? I wore the same thing both days. So I pull my bow back and I look, and my entire forearm is in between my string and my string stopper.
You're just slapping that freaking arm, dude.
And I heard it. I heard it when I shot the buck, but I didn't really think much of it because I had so much going on. But I really heard it when I shot the coyote. I heard that thunk. So I'm like, what the hell, dude? So I put on my arm guard. From then on, the rest of the season, I just put my arm guard on. The thing was, like, I usually wear it when I'm wearing something puffier. I was wearing a fleece, and then I was wearing a coat, which is thicker. But the coat was kind of tight fitting, so I thought it would kind of like suck everything in. And it didn't. It
just
was,
pokes
dude,
out right
it
there.
was literally puffed out. My entire string had to hit like my entire forearm.
Oh, man.
So going on.
That's kind of weird, though. It wouldn't make sense to hit high, though. You would think you would hit low.
If it's slapping,
Right?
it could be going anywhere,
If it's
man.
That's
slapping,
true. It
maybe
could
my
be
wrist
hitting.
is, maybe
Maybe
it's
it's
Could be
Talking
throwing the
torquing my
angle,
bow
angle
off.
the arrow off.
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure, but I mean, that doe I shot earlier in the year, exactly where I was aiming, like to a T, like perfect shot.
Were you wearing that coat?
Was not wearing that
No,
coat.
that
That
makes
coat's never
sense.
killed shit. That coat's
I
never
do want to
killed
note,
shit.
too, that the murder ladder has been somewhat fixed.
Oh yeah,
So this is a much safer murder ladder than when I was in it.
Okay.
yeah. Russ
Yeah,
put a ratchet strap.
Basically from the seat
From
to
the
the
top,
bottom
yeah.
rung, like straight up and down to hold everything together. And then another one around the tree, around the stand. So it's nice and safe. Nice and safe.
Good now.
Yeah, we're good now. You get on it again.
I was kind of wondering that a few times. He's like, I went in super early. I'm like, that was sketchy, dude.
Yeah, that,
No, it's legit now.
I know I
but
made
we're
that
gonna fix it
mention.
next year for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
take it out and put a new one in.
I did. So the first time I went up there, I actually got in super early, and when that buck came through, and I actually trimmed up a couple lanes real quick with my pull saw.
Yeah.
because it was a little furry. You know?
Yeah.
It might make sense to put a lock on in there, just saying out loud. We'll see.
Yeah, the problem is, like I said in the past, like Dad hunts that. He likes that stand
Yeah,
a
that's
lot,
true.
so
Good
can't
point.
really
Gotta put a ladder in.
can't
I
take
have-
him out of the game. So
Here's a fix for that. I have a set of sticks for a lock on. That is actually a ladder. They're ladder sticks.
Ladder stick.
yeah,
He'd be climbing a little ladder.
You'd have to see because the pine trees.
I've been to that tree.
Yeah, it's so bad. So many limbs.
So that morning, while I was hunting there, about 350 yards, 400 yards away, teardrop daylighted for the first time since last year's gun season. I think it's the only time he daylighted. So he daylighted past Russ's camera. And we haven't really been telling many people about these deer because it's kind of like me and Charles have been kind of like a team. Like we both got 3 to 4 cameras up. We both share our information, like we kind of keep it between us. You know, nobody else has really thrown shit our way, thrown us a bone. Why put in all the work that we put in to throw everybody else a bone?
Yeah.
So Russ sends that to us, and we both go, "That's teardrop." And then the cat was out of the bag.
I've never seen that buck before.
I mean,
We're gonna call him teardrop, I think.
after last year's season, I did show them like the deer and everything. I go,
Yeah.
"Okay, this deer's here, this deer's there, blah 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 blah." But like during the season, it's just like it's our thing.
Did you beat him up?
So
Who?
Him.
Why?
What are you sharing info for?
Oh,
no, I got your So,
I'm not
Loose
gonna
lips sink ships, bro.
listen. I'm not gonna hide anything.
Just kidding.
But I'm not gonna volunteer all my hard work and effort either.
exactly.
Like,
How many
I'm not
times
gonna-
do we go out, put out feed early season,
Right.
not
Clear
early season,
trails.
but before season,
In the middle
early
of
season.
season.
Yeah, how many times do we put out food in the early season? Yeah.
Yeah, we're clearing trails and putting
Yeah,
all
we-
that sweat equity in. And
Yeah, man.
I wish we would have got one more in preseason, but we got 2 feeds in preseason, cleared out trails. Like we put in some work.
hung cameras,
Makes
like
sense.
sweating
Our wife's
your
height
balls
ate
off.
us that much more, so it's just like, why? Your
Yeah.
wife didn't have to hate you. Why would I give this to you?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Cozy in bed. And we're out here.
So
We're sleeping on the couch. I don't get it.
as I was sitting there, I think it might have been after I missed the coyote. Doesn't really matter, but he sends it to us, and I go, "Well, that's teardrop," and I get all excited. I'm thinking like he's probably gonna go past my other camera, like down by the bedding on the other side of the property. So I'm like, should I move? Should I do this? Should I do that? I'm like, you know what? I'm like actually at like the doorway of where we think he's been bedding. He could always circle around and come right
back,
past
yeah.
me. Yeah,
Catch that dose scent coming through.
exactly.
You know.
So
Anything's possible. It's just shitty because like we knew he was in that bottom, but he wasn't bedding back where he daylighted that morning. He was bedding more on the other side where of the bottom, and it was like
it was hard to say
yeah,
where he actually
yeah,
was.
like I wanted to go back there so bad, so many times. That was the spot where actually, when first time I hunted the murder ladder, I was supposed to go to that spot where he was on camera, where he died, where Russ killed him. I was supposed to go to that spot that night, and I decided to hunt the murder ladder, and
he might.
you know.
I mean,
probably wasn't even there at that time.
I think he shifted direction a little bit or changed bedding
Yeah.
That's possible.
Well, Russ said too there was a ton of deer in there, were doe all through.
because he
there.
did
There's
that
a
last
bunch
year
of deer.
towards like the rut and gun season. He actually shifted the whole way up on the hill. So like
Makes
he
sense.
made a big shift last year.
Mhm.
But so Russ is like, well, we get them all riled up, like telling them, oh, that's teardrop. So he's like, all right, well, I was gonna go out there this morning. I could have shot him this morning. I'm gonna come up there pretty soon. So he comes up. I'm like, all right, well, grab my camera, come back down with the quad, whatever. So he comes up and we bullshit a little bit. Like, hey, see if you can find my arrow at dark. So he heads off towards that stand, and so I go home. I had school that night, so I couldn't hunt. And I get a call. I'm like doing the dishes. I get a call at like 4 something. It's Russ. My heart just sank.
You
like,
just knew, man.
like you want to be happy for him and everything, but it's like it's been
you
me
are
and
happy.
Charles that have been chasing him for 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And I am happy. I'm happy that we killed him, not some Amish or some Joe
Jabroni.
Schmo.
Mhm.
So I'm happy in that sense, but he and I gave him shit about this that night. He calls me, he's like, hey man, your buck's over here, blah 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 blah, like it's like all nonchalant. And I told him that night, I said, hey, how about next time when you shoot a deer I've been after for 2 years, you call me with a little bit more excitement in your voice. He's just like acting like it's like another
Yeah.
day, another Monday,
Yeah, he's just acting like he drops 190s every year, and that's just like another buck. It's like
Yeah, I mean, teardrop. We saw him in person.
pretty excited, man. This deer's a fucking pig.
He's a pig, and
Huge
if he didn't
body,
have that,
too.
Oh,
Huge body.
stupid deer.
I'd like to know his measurements. But yeah, and the worst part about it, which Charles and I talked about this, if he didn't have the teardrop, I probably wasn't going to shoot him. But the problem was with all this, like that week, like earlier that week, Charles and I were texting back and forth, and we pretty much came to the point of like, screw every other deer on this property, chasing teardrop. And I was going to chase them that whole week. Just dig deep, just try finding them. And then Russ puts them down on a Monday of the week. I'm going to be chasing them, you know? And that's
Sounds
the
like
reason
teardrop at a case of
and
the
that's the
Mondays.
exact reason
Yeah.
I even hunted the murder ladder, because he was in that area and we have no information.
Yeah.
So I'm at this point, I'm like, what am I even doing? And you text me. You're like, well, maybe you could get Brucey, you know? And I
Well,
tell you,
Brucey had been daylighting and
Dude.
stuff. I was like,
Brucey has been
Brucey's
a
a great
liability
buck.
lately.
Brucey is a liability. That dude needs to
He's
go
more of a-
way freaking low.
He's more of a liability than Junior was
I've
early
never
season.
seen a deer more on camera in daylight in my life.
the whole season.
The whole year, and he's still alive. God bless Brucey.
That's the thing that made my season such like
You
a
know
shit
what,
show,
though?
because he was playing cat and mouse with me, dude. He'd be like, "Oh, I want a daylight over here. Oh, I'm a
Mhm.
daylight over here," and there was no consistencies ever.
He was
Yeah.
all over the place.
Not
all
ever,
the
but
time.
There was a couple little consistencies, but
Mm-hmm.
he was never usually never in the same spot 2 days in a row, or
He
even the same
had
area.
his way with the does.
Yeah, he did.
Like
That's a good thing.
the one hunt
That's a good thing.
I'm hunting his camera because he came through the night before in his camera. He walks past the other camera, chases a doe 20 yards behind me.
Mhm.
Yeah, behind me. So it kind of is a mockery, you know.
That deer
So-
is just brutal, man. He is brutal.
You know, at this point, it's just like, what do you do? And what I told you was, you know, I just never had feelings for Brucey. You know, I just
Yeah.
It's not that I would not really like that buck. I would, but it's just like I just never had that relationship. So going on, I'm like, you know what? I haven't hunted the apple tree yet this year. It's like one of my favorite spots to hunt. I'm going to hunt it. You know, they cut the corn, so anything could really happen. I could shoot a little further. You know, my camera might not be catching some stuff going through. There's always a ton of bucks just roaming through there during the rut, so anything could happen. So the one morning I go up there and I hunt that. Charles had an extra camera. I checked out a spot that he was kind of checking out earlier in the year, set up a camera there. And then like the next day, and my wife's even like, she felt like bad for me, you know, like she started feeling bad for me. And she's almost like, oh, you know, you got this property, you got that property. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And she's like kind of acting like I'm giving up. And I told her, I said, I'm not giving up. Like, this is what I do this for, the chase.
I'm just
you know,
bummed.
I live for the chase, you
Yeah.
know, it's the best part about hunting. And every time you feel a buck tag, that there's like a little bit of hole in you that, you know, you don't get to do the chase anymore.
Yeah.
But, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to another property. There, we have no camera at all over there. You know, there's just nothing going on.
I don't think anybody's been out in that area at all this
Yeah.
year.
So I'm like, it's like a Thursday. It's perfect. Like, even if somebody was hunting in here, they haven't been in here since probably Saturday. So, all right, I'm going out. And, of course, I'm calling Charles every freaking night, giving my sob story and trying to figure out tactics and everything.
Bend in my ear, man.
And he's like, well, you should go here. You should go there. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go like where I shot my 2021 buck at. And I'm just going to get in that area. And if you get in that area and it's hot, it's hot.
It's hot, yeah.
So I go back. It's just getting light out. And I'm kind of bebopping just so I could kind of find a tree, you know, in the daylight, gray light. So I get back and as soon as I get back there, I'm like, the wind is bad. Like, I don't know what to do with this wind because like it's kind of pushing into this thicket that I'm trying to hunt off of. And it's just not right. So I'm walking around for like probably 20, 30 minutes, just walking around like, where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? And then finally I'm like, I guess I'm going in the tree that I fell out of last year. You know, like I didn't
You sent me
want
a
to.
Snapchat.
Yeah, I didn't want to, but you know what? I guess this is the best tree for it. So I climb up there and I'm climbing up and I get to the top and I go to pull my bow up and I look to my right and there's a deer. There's another deer. And the one looked like a big buck, but I didn't see any tines. What the hell's going on here? So I don't know what's going on, but I got to get my bow up like right now. So I start pulling my bow up and all of a sudden there's this little half rack. he's chasing this doe around and they're running underneath me, running all around. I get my bow up and throw an arrow on just in case, whatever's going on. And they're running all around me. And then finally, like my worst nightmare, this thing gets downwind of me. The buck gets downwind of me and he just freezes. Man, I knew this was going to happen. Like it's just, I didn't shower this morning or was running late or whatever, and he snorts. He snorts again and he's hanging out and she's just standing there like, oh.
Yeah.
So they just hang out for a while and then he just forgot about it.
Good.
It must have not been strong enough for him to really like go like, oh, okay, it's danger. Maybe just caught it like a whiff of something. I don't know.
She was too stanky.
So she went off.
She was stank.
She was stanky.
She went off to my back right and he kind of just lost her and then he tried finding her again. So some time goes by and not really seeing much. Saw a couple of does kind of slick through the thicket. And then really nothing. I'm like, man, it's kind of dying down. So I look off to my right, back where that doe went, and I see this big deer. And it walks through and just disappears before I can even get the binoculars on it. I don't know if that's a buck or what's going on. So I'm waiting, not really seeing it, just disappeared. So I'm texting Charles. I'm like, I don't know. I think I should probably grunt. So I hit a couple. Well, I didn't even get to hit the grunts yet. I'm about to grunt, and all of a sudden there's a buck behind me, breaks out. Little basket comes through, walks like pretty much underneath me. And then I'm like, all right, well, he's kind of out of sight. I'll grunt. Then another buck comes up behind me. I think it was a spike or whatever. Comes up behind me, walks like pretty much underneath me. So then I'm texting Charles like, yeah, all these deer, blah, blah. I really want to grunt to, try seeing what that big deer was. And he's like, screw these deer, just grunt. So I hit a couple grunts, nothing. A few minutes go by and I pull up the binoculars again in that direction. And there's this just tank. God. So I text Charles. I'm like, dude, mega shooter. He's over there probably about, 150, 200 yards away. And I'm like, I don't know. He's kind of just hanging out. He's not really making any commitments to any direction, but he's facing away from me.
Boom. Come to me.
So I kind of just let him do his thing for a minute. Charles like, oh, you should snort wheeze at him and then hit like a long tending grunt. So
I don't sound like that.
So I ended up, I snort wheeze.
Shut up, Chad.
And then I hit a grunt and he whipped his head around, stared at me, and then nothing really came of it. He's just milling around this one area. I'm like, dude, what's he doing over there? I can't really see much of him. Is he bedding down? Is he just milling around? What's going on? So then he kind of starts coming like a little bit closer to me, left to right, and he ends up in this little thick patch. I can still see him in there.
What time is this? Is this like getting dark?
So,
is it later?
It's the morning.
Oh, this is the morning. Okay.
The mystery deer came through at 10:30.
Okay.
And then I saw him around 11.
Okay.
So and this whole ordeal was like an hour long.
Okay.
So he starts coming down and he's still probably 150 yards away. And he's in this thick shit and all I can see is his head. So I'm like,
the worst thing you could possibly see.
Like, he kind of came a little bit closer to me, kind of broke the distance a little bit. Screw it. Snort wheezed at him again. Dude, he whipped his head at me and he wants to come. Like, he's showing it. And there must have been a little half rack in his area. Comes straight to me on a line, dude. Straight to me. Gets to about 20 yards downwind. Hits my wind. Turns. Runs off back towards him. And I'm like thinking, I don't want him to think that like this buck that's running at him is the one that's snort wheezing. I want him to think that like there's another buck over here just scared the shit out of this little buck. So I hurry up before that deer could snort at me or do anything. I hit another snort wheeze and the big buck ended up charging this deer, like took like 6 bounds towards him like he was going to fuck him up. I'm like, oh man. So now it's like, I just see deer running around. I'm like, where the hell did he go? I think I lost him. So like 5-10 minutes go by. Dude, he's gone. I think I blew it. I look up and he's still standing in that area. I'm like, dude, what is going on? So I'm grunting. I did pretty much everything but bleed at him.
The old kitchen sink.
Threw the kitchen sink at the old guy. So he just eventually, I see a tail behind him, bound off. And then he turned back, looked at that, looked back at me, and he couldn't see anything by me, So he just went off with that doe. I'm like, dude, I should have known he was sitting on a doe.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could have pulled him off of it.
Probably not.
So
maybe if you had a decoy, maybe.
yeah.
But even
So-
then,
Probably not. 'cause
even
the
then, probably
distance-
not. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's a crapshoot.
Now, Joe didn't mention that those pins that I sent him, one of them was like probably within 50 yards of where this deer was the whole time. But, you know, he didn't want to go to my pins.
Proceed.
Proceed.
You know, saying.
So
I can't wait until you get to one part of this story. And if you don't bring it up, I'm going to bring it up. But I'm very excited for it. I know it's coming.
so I
You
called
probably know what I
Charles.
mean,
I'm like, yeah, man, he was a good buck. Like, I'm thinking like 135, 140 class, like real good buck. I don't know what to do. He kind of bound off this way. I think they might have went, you know, off into nowhere. I can't really cut him off because my wind's so bad. He's going, you know,
Towards the road or towards the fields? Or towards the
Neither.
top?
towards.
Neither. Okay.
Neither.
I'm trying to, I know where you're at. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
figure out, like,
Yeah, he went. Yeah.
okay, I got you.
Gone.
Yeah.
South? South? He went south?
He went west
He went to the panhandle.
to the panhandle.
So
If he were on the panhandle,
yeah,
he'd be
okay.
heading towards West Virginia.
Okay.
the wind wasn't right to cut him off.
Yeah.
Like
That'd be
to-
hard
to-
in there too, anyway.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
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 Too loud, whatever.
Because we got some rain before, but apparently he didn't get any of that rain up there in that area. And so everything was still pretty loud.
It was crunchy.
Yeah, everything was still real crunchy.
Yeah, it was
and
supposed to be
loud.
rain,
It
but
was supposed to be rainy
nothing
all
happened.
night and then stop in the morning, but apparently didn't there, but it did here.
yeah, it was crunchy as hell. So called Charles. I started talking to him about it. And he's like, well, you know where this deer's at now. Like, go try making a move or do something, you know. There's a time where you have to make big boy decisions or something. Or he said that later on, but I'm calling him, bothering him. You know, he's on rutcation too. Why not? So I'm like, all right, well, I'll get down. I'll go find a tree for tomorrow. I'm going to do an all day sit tomorrow. And if there's deer still in the area, maybe I could sneak up, you know, like
Yeah.
try making a move, whatever. So get down, get all my shit together. Another one of those bucks came through again, of course. And I go over there and I'm walking all around like where I initially saw him. And it's just barren, dude. Like there's no trees in sight. So I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what to do here. Can't really set up here. And I'm walking through like knee-high water, like bullshit. So I'm walking over there and I turn around. I start going over the other direction and my pant legs fell down. So my pants are just completely soaked. There's no pulling them up. And I go
All
over.
I can picture is like you keep running into this issue. Is like you have your rubber boots on, you just pull your pant legs up, and there's a big gap in between.
No, I usually tuck them in. Like when I put my boots in, I don't fold them over. When I walk in, then I fold them over. Well, I started walking and stuff, you know, and one of my pant legs fell down or whatever and got wet, and it just became okay. I guess my legs are just gonna be a big waterlogged mess the rest of the day. So I walk over to the other area where they're kind of hanging out most of the time, and I'm like, this would be nice to get in here. But again, just tree selection just wasn't there. So I'm looking, like, I don't know, man. I'm getting real bothered at this point. Like, I just can't find anything that's going to work.
You need to make a decision at this
Yeah.
point.
So I set one pin and I'm like, I'll just come in tomorrow morning. It'll be a little bit light out and I'll just find a tree. So I'm like, no, don't do that. Like, find a freaking tree, dude.
Find
You
a
got
tree.
the time now. Just find a tree. So I walk a little further over and I'm like, that's the tree right there. It looks good. It's right off the edge of that little thick bedding area that they were kind of milling around. I saw all kinds of deer kind of just cruising through there. This has to be the spot. So come in the next morning and I get in around 7. I'm up in my tree. So I'm climbing this tree and I ended up getting to the very top and the tree kind of like bows out a little bit. So it was not the most comfortable
Yeah.
place to
Yeah,
do an
go on
all-day
the
sit.
Other side of it, bud.
I didn't want to. I wanted to face a certain direction towards that bedding
Yeah.
and towards where I saw him so I could see everything that's going on. I'm not getting snuck up from behind. And then, you know, the wind ended up being perfect that day. It was blowing right in my face, right away from that bedding, or it was blowing to my left. Either way, it was perfect.
There's money, yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know. We've seen deer come from this other direction too. So they might come up from behind me. I'm getting real nervous. So, like I said, it was a bad tree to do an all day sit in. As soon as I got hooked into the top, I'm running a saddle now. And it just like swung me in this one direction. I had to put my attachment way off to the left, my rope way off to the left, just to kind of not get like just raped into a certain spot, like, so I'm sitting there a little bit and here comes a spike early on, a spike from the day before, comes right through, probably gave me like a 20-yard shot. And then it's just dead. Dude, fire. Yeah. Like, what's going on here? So I'm like, all right, well, I'm all day. It's just dead. And it was windy. It was just miserable. I had my coffee. I had a heated vest. Like, the only things really keeping me in the game was thermos and heated vest. And I just keep telling myself, like, you're not hunting all these other deer. You're hunting one deer.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just hunt your hunt. Just have fun. And I sat a little bit longer. It was getting later, dude, and my doubts are just running in my head.
I think you're skipping. You sent a Snapchat out.
Yeah, what was it?
It was a fucking rowboat.
Oh, yeah. So
This is what I didn't want to skip.
yeah. I didn't want to give up too much.
You're okay. Nobody knows what you're talking about.
So,
Basically, Elmer Fudd came by on a rowboat.
At one point, I hear a couple shots ring off, a couple shotgun shots ring off. They seem kind of close. What the fuck was that? I'm like, all right, well, maybe somebody's duck hunting, whatever. All of a sudden, I look off to my right, and there's fucking Duck Dynasty coming down the river. Literally, the old dude off Duck Dynasty and some Elmer Fudd
Side.
dude. They're just coming down the river.
Do you have a sweet tea?
Creek, whatever, and
hanging over the front of the boat.
Yeah, like
hanging
freaking
over the
shouldered,
front of the
gun
boat, just-
shouldered.
He
Yeah.
basically looked like George Washington crossing
Yeah.
the fucking Delaware.
Dude,
Yeah,
he's got his gun
He's got a leg
shouldered,
up. You're right. He had a
ready
leg
to go.
up. Mhm.
And guess what happened? A whole flock, are they flocks, I guess, of ducks?
Sure.
A flock of ducks flew over my head. And I'm like, shit, I don't think they see me. Dude, I grabbed my bow because I needed to swing even further. I swung the whole way around and I'm like hiding behind the tree and I'm like seconds away from going, hey, I'm right here. This dude pulls up his gun. I'm like, oh shit. He was kind of like pointing in another direction. I'm plugging one ear. And Cy told him not to shoot, so he didn't.
This is
So-
like a rowboat. Like he has a passenger rowing away.
Row.
So they went a little further down, and I heard him pop off a couple shots, and a few ducks flew over my head. They were just scaring ducks the whole way down. So yeah,
Unreal.
the longer and longer I'm sitting there, dude, and I just start playing out my season. Like, all right, well, what do I do? Like after today, what do I do? It's Friday, so I got Saturday and Sunday, and then my season's over. I can't hunt next week. Do I hunt here again? Do I go there? Or do I go here? Like, what do I do? Like, I want to really chase this buck, but it's just not looking realistic at this point. If he's not going to come through today, then he could be miles away.
Anywhere. I should point out too, man, when that happened and you sent me that, I was just sitting there. I was at work. I was stuck at freaking work. And I was like, this kid cannot catch a freaking break right now.
I wasn't too
It was
worried
just
about
like
it. Honestly,
one
when they
thing
got on
after
the other
another.
side of me, I'm like, maybe they'll scare something my way,
Yeah. Never know.
They blow off some rounds on their side, so.
It's
wild.
It's wild.
So, yeah, I just had to keep telling myself, like, this hunt's not even over. Why are you, like, just...
You're planning for the next day.
Exactly.
already. Yeah.
I'm planning for the rest of the week, and the hunt's not even over. And I even told Charles, like, we got some good bucks. Like, I honestly wouldn't mind going into gun season with the buck tag, but I never want to because
Right.
it's just never been there for me. So around 5:00, I look up and I see a deer. I see antlers. Shit, that's him. So I pull up my binoculars. My God, it's him. Like, everything starts rushing in. Like, this is actually happening. He's actually here again. There's no way. And there's no doe on him. There's nothing.
And I got my arm guard on.
Got my arm guard on, same jacket, arm guard. And I
Damn
wore a
jacket.
vest. No fleece. So my arm's a little thinned up. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like, I keep telling myself, like, should I call? Should I do this? Should I do that? I'm like, dude, just let him go.
See what happens.
See what happens. So immediately he starts coming towards me and he starts working through that thick stuff exactly like I thought. Because it's bedding, And I'm like, dude, this is playing out perfectly. Like, I was playing this out in my head all day long. Like, this is what he's going to do. He's going to pop out the other side, be right here. And he starts to get into that stuff. And you have kids, you understand this. Like, my kids, like, songs and stuff that she listens to just like live in my head rent free.
Oh, totally.
So I'm like literally singing like a sing along in my head, like just to kind of like keep calm. Plus, it's just stuck in my freaking head.
5 little monkeys.
Dude, it was close. 5 little ducks. I was doing the 5 little ducks in my head, like, and it was kind of keeping me calm, and it was kind of keeping me from like doing something stupid. Yeah. So I'm just singing in my head, like, and I'm just counting. I'm counting because like. When he was in that thick stuff, I couldn't see him anymore. And I'm like, dude, at what point do I call? I'm like, do I bleat? Do I do this? Do I do that? I'm thinking, he's too old. He's too smart.
Yeah.
Don't do that shit. He's going to come over here aware.
He's heard it before.
Yeah. He's going to come over here aware, and he's going to be looking around for shit. I'd rather him come in naturally and just clueless. So I'm waiting, dude, just counting in my head. And it seemed like an eternity. Finally, his head pops out. This is happening. He starts coming towards me. And I'm shaking. I have to tell myself, dude, like, you've been here before. Like, calm the hell down. Like, just do it. And he's walking right towards me. And I'm like, okay, well, is he going weak side? Is he going strong side? Where is he going? So he's kind of favoring my weak side, but he's coming directly at me. So I have my bow in my hand and the trees in between us. And I'm thinking, okay, he's going weak side. I got to bring my bow over my bridge. So I start bringing my bow over my bridge, and my bow just stops. What's going on right now? I look up, and there's a limb right above me that my arrow's stuck in. So I'm like, oh. And like, I have like this moment of like, just give up. Like, you're never going to get this untangled and shoot this deer. Just give up. And I'm like, dude, just get your shit together. Slow everything down. Get the arrow unstuck and just pull it over. So I get the arrow unstuck. I pull it over to the other side, but I kind of keep it up a little bit in case he does come on the other side. And then keeps favoring my weak side. So I commit, turn my hips over a little bit, and he's coming through and he keeps stopping. And I'm thinking, like, don't be a Charles and pull back early.
Wow. Burn! Jesus, man. I'm right here.
There's so many moments where I'm like,
Really
pull back.
here.
And finally I'm like, dude, I'm not going to be able to pull back till he's in the wide open. But I'm kind of like off behind him. Like, I'm going to be on the back end of his eyeball. He's not going to see me. So I let him get in the wide open. I pull back 14 yards away, dude.
Oh, man.
Like, I played this spot to a freaking T. Like, so I pull back, and then as soon as I pull back and I start looking through, he gets in the highest grass you could ever imagine. Like, up to his freaking back almost. And I'm like, dude. And it just blew my brain apart. Like, where do I aim? Like, I have no clue. I'm trying to aim at the heart here, and he doesn't even have one. You know, like, I can see like half his body. So I'm like, and I think almost like, I don't know, like subconsciously I just aimed a little bit further back because I could see more of that part of his body, and I shoot, and he runs off, and he kind of like did something weird at first. Like, he was like confused, like
Did you
scared,
like that
whatever,
hunch?
like kind of like, yeah, maybe like a hunch or something. I swear I heard a balloon pop, and he runs off and he stops and he's like confused. Like, what the hell just happened? Like, dude, I know I just shot this buck. Like, 100% hit him. And then he starts walking off. All right, well, go down. And then he gets out ahead of me, and I really can't shoot through there. But there's a couple of openings. I'm like, I mean, I'll just try flinging an arrow, get a bleeder in there. So I'm like, all right, well, I meep him to stop him, and I go to range find him. So I meep him, I range find him. He's 65 yards. Like, I'm not making that shot in my dreams. And as soon as I hit him with the rangefinder and he kind of stopped from the meep, he kind of like juked right and then cut left real quick and then just kept walking. And went into that thick stuff. I'm like, all right, well, maybe he'll bed down in that stuff and die. So I text these guys and I'm like, I fucking shot him. Like, that's the only thing I could come up with. I shot him. And I'm losing it, dude. Like, like all these emotions of just like, you literally just sat here for 10 hours with only seeing a spike, and then that buck that you were after came through exactly how you planned. And I'm texting these guys, and they're like, and Charles is like, where'd he go? And then I see him pop out the other side of the thick stuff. And he's all hunched up, like, he's hurt. You know, like you could just tell his head's kind of like bobbing side to side. Like he's looking for somewhere to lay down because he's messed up pretty bad. And I give him a little bit of time and I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to rappel down, get my arrow, find initial blood. And I'm going to take my time and then I'm going to track him, see how the blood looks up into the spot that I saw him last. And it's pretty wide open after that. So I'm going to get to the blood to where I last saw him and then just back out. So I get down, check the arrow showing liver, real dark blood, real grainy. I'm like, all right, well, it's better than gut. Yeah. But I'm sure there's some gut that I hit. So I started trailing him and it was like Friday the 10th blood, you know, at first.
Not the 15th.
It was pretty good blood.
It's not a day. It's Friday the 11th.
It was the 10th.
Whatever.
So pretty good blood. And so I'm getting all pumped up, man. Like real good blood. So I start tracking them and talking to Charles on the phone. He's like, dude, you need to get out of there. You just need to get out of there. I'm like, no, I'm just going to track him up to this point. I was
strongly against what he was doing, and I was very upset.
But I mean, I saw him probably like 80 yards out. I had probably 150 yards or 125 yards of tracking before I even got to where I last saw him. And then it's wide open after that. So I'm not really jumping him or doing anything. I'm just checking how he's bleeding.
I know where he's coming from. If you bump him, he's going into a labyrinth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, I'm thinking the same shot I made last year on the buck in Ohio. I hit liver on him. And when they're ruddy like this right now, like they're different animals. They're not the same animal as they would be, you know, October 6th. You're tracking an animal that is so pumped up on testosterone and everything else. Like it's a totally different animal. And I just remember the one last year I shot, like pretty decent shot. I caught some lungs, some liver, whatever. I mean, yeah, it was a little low, but that deer 4 hours later should have been dead and he was alive and we bumped him and we had zero blood after that. But leading up to that spot, we had blood like you wouldn't believe, like just absolute bloodbath. So I'm like, God, here we go. I'm playing it all back in my head. I'm like, dude, you got to give this deer at least 6 hours. Like you got to give him 6 hours minimum.
And I planned on it, but my idea was just figure out how good he's actually bleeding, kind of like get an idea of the shot and everything. So if I track him up to the point where I saw him last, he's made it past there already, like an hour or so ago, you know? So it's not like I'm bumping him at all. It's not like I'm sitting, like I'm walking up to the edge of a thicket and going, hey, you in there? You know? So it's not like I'm getting really close to this deer by any means. And if you saw the layout, you'd probably agree with me a little bit more. Like, it was literally just wide open past that.
We'll put a pin in the show notes so people can take a look.
Yeah, let us know what you think. We'll put the tracker in.
So I start tracking them, and it's just really good blood, real good blood out both sides. And then I start going through that bedding, and then it's just blood out the other side, the entry side. So I'm like, all right, well, probably have the gut blocking up the other side. Then, you know, we got one side bleeding real good. So good blood. And then I get to that point. I put my arrow down, stick it in the ground there, and I back out, take the e-bike out. And yeah, it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I get out and I call Johnny. He's like the only one left. You know, Russ and Charles are in Ohio. My dad's definitely not going to make the journey. And I go, well,
my phone didn't ring.
And I actually text Johnny like during the hunt. I said, hey, if I get lucky, you know, we're going to have to bring the kayaks out here. It'd probably be way easier. So I decide, okay, we're going to kayak in. So call Johnny. Of course, he's an alcoholic and can't not drink. So somebody has to come pick him up. And
he's already 6 beers in.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll come pick you up. I'll get Charles's kayak since it's bigger. And then we could just use yours or whatever. So then I'm calling this person, calling that person. And then I ended up talking to Ferletta and he's like, well, maybe. And I'm like, do you want to come or something? Like, I didn't even ask him.
Yeah.
He's just like, well, I wouldn't mind it. You know, I'm like, all right, dude, like bring your kayak, pick up Johnny, pick up Charles's kayak. So, and I was like, I'll just bring my kayak. So these freaking yahoos, of course they're going to be late. Like, I'm like, meet me there at like 9:30 or 10 o'clock or something like that. So meet me there at 10 o'clock. I get there at like 9:20. I just wanted to make sure. I never really kayaked this. I want to make sure like the entrance was good and everything. And I get there at like 9:20. I'm just like an emotional wreck. Like I think I'm like starting to get sick. I just got all this shit going on, and I'm like a mess. I'm like, dude, you've shot and killed a big deer before. Like, calm the hell down.
Yeah, right.
But it was just like so much emotion because like, when was the last time you put in an all day sit after a deer and actually like the last hour of the hunt shoot it? You know, it was just a pile of just adrenaline, emotion, just all like packed into one. And I had nobody to share it with. You know, like my wife doesn't understand. I can't tell her about it.
Yeah.
And so I ended up calling up Joe Marcella, and we're bullshitting in the parking lot. So, of course, these yahoos, they get there at like 10 something, like 10:30 or whatever. So, and they bring 3 kayaks. So now we have 4 kayaks. We need to hide one because we're going to just leave it there. And we start kayaking down, and it was way worse than what I thought it was going to be. It was like
Tried to warn you.
25 minutes.
It's far.
So we keep getting like
That's
stuck in
far.
these little
Mhm.
inlets because you can't really read a map, you know, while you're going down. So we keep getting like stuck in these little dead end inlets and then backing out. And then at one point we crossed a freaking beaver dam. It was a complete nightmare. We literally had to get out and drag our kayaks over top of a beaver dam. No joke. And one point my kayak literally got stuck on a stick or something. The worst I've ever been stuck in my life. Like I couldn't get off this thing, and I thought I was going to tip. It was like holding my kayak up a little bit.
Oh no.
Yeah, it got stuck in like one of those holes on the bottom. So I literally had to have somebody else come over. I had to lift myself up and like push myself off. So finally we get there and we start tracking, and it's real good blood out one side again. And then like almost immediately it's just, we're tracking vertical stuff. I'm like, well, what the hell, man? What's going on right now? This needs to pick up. Starting to get real nervous real quick. So then it's drop, drop, drop. And then it's a drop every like 5-10 feet, 5-10 yards. I'm like, dude, what is going on right now? And then out of nowhere, Johnny goes, there's a deer right there. He lifts up his flashlight, and there's a deer literally 10 yards in front of me. Dude, and it was just like,
man.
what the hell is going on right now? So I look at him. I'm like, it's him. I turn around, and we just went bananas, dude. Like I had my arrow in my hand. I threw it off to the side and completely left it in the woods. Like completely forgot about it.
Man.
Throw my arrow off to the side. We're just going bananas, dude. And I turn around. I just took a glance out east. We would take, and I got up to him, and it was just I couldn't believe it, man. Like he only went like 225 yards,
Yeah.
if that, and he must have died on the hoof because he was not bedded up at all. He's died on the trail.
Tipped over.
Yeah, just tipped over.
Damn, dude.
So I ended up hitting the port of the liver, like you're gonna die really quick part of the liver, and a little bit of gut, and probably lung too. His lungs were kind of like real goofy. And I've been seeing that a lot lately. Like it was like TB shit where it was like the lungs were like glued to his rib cage. Yeah, it was like I'm literally pulling out chunks of his lungs, trying to gut him. And I've seen that a little bit. Maybe I had COVID. I don't know. So
Could have been a COVID deer.
That's what happens. Your lungs
I
get
swear
glued to your
since a
ribs.
COVID
and-
year, I've seen some weird deer lungs, man.
Could have been COVID. Could have been EHD.
We're gonna get pulled off
So-
of YouTube, man. Come on.
Yeah, man. It was. I just couldn't believe it. Like how thick he was. He definitely the thickest buck I've ever shot in my life. I lost of words, man.
Really
So-
cool buck, man. Really cool.
Yeah, and then like getting in there like that was cool too. It was like Johnny said, it was like we're Navy SEALs going in, you know. and it was sweet. It was definitely an experience. And then pulling him out and getting him on the kayak and going out that way. I kept telling those guys, I'm like, this might be a long ride, but it's a lot better than dragging them out.
Listen,
Sure the hell is.
Back in there, you need the kayak to get them out.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it in any
wish-
amount of time that makes
God,
sense.
we tell the story all the time about the one we got out of yours, Austin. Imagine we would have had kayaks. Dude, we would have been out in 5 minutes.
5 minutes, literally.
It took us all night to get that damn deer out of there.
It was so bad,
Yeah.
man. I shot that deer at like 6:30.
Ugh.
And I think we got back to the truck at like 102 or something like that. It was bananas. You don't want to drag a deer out of that spot.
No.
No,
No, you don't.
No.
Joe shot his in there 2 years ago. Dude, no.
No.
It's me, you, and
No.
Sam
Me, him, and Sam with a deer cart.
going through quicksand.
I don't think a deer cart would be any
It's
better.
not that much better.
A sled may be better, but
Sled
not
would-
great.
Yeah, sled would be slightly better.
No, it's just not
deer cart.
not good.
It's not
So-
fun, and I'm a little jealous because the new canoe took its first ride with a deer on it, and that's why I bought it. I mean, that's literally the reason I bought that kayak
Yeah.
was so I could take deer out of places, and it worked great. So that's
Worked
awesome.
great.
It was
Beautiful.
weird, you know, like those late recoveries like that, like you can't share it with anybody, you know, like
Yeah.
everybody's sleeping. It was like 11:40 when we end up finding
I
them.
think you texted me. It was way after 11. I was doing the dishes when you texted me. I was like,
But yeah, you know, I mean, we gave him good time to sit. You know, I think he died pretty quick, but we did the right
It
thing
was worth it.
for sure.
super cool, man.
But
Super
yeah,
cool.
you know, these guys are up in freaking Ohio, and it's just like nobody to share it with. It was just, yeah, it was bad. You know, I wasn't the man that day. You know, I didn't get anybody to share it with, man.
4:45 a.m. It was nice to wake up and see that.
Be like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm really tired.
I'm
but-
rolling over.
All right, way to go. I got up and got my shower. It's like, yes.
Joe, I want you to kind of describe him a little bit for people who are listening because he is a really cool buck. He's got a lot of character
So-
to him.
The first time I saw him, I said he was like 200 yards. I think he got to 150. It was the closest he got. And I was just like, I don't know. I didn't even count. And I kept telling these guys, I'm like, I know he has a split G2 or G3. I'm like, he's either an 8 or a 10. I don't know. But I'm like, he's a beast. Like, he's 135, 140. And I slimmed that down after the second time I ended up seeing him. But the second time I saw him, like, so the way I was explaining it, I think after the second time I saw him, I was like, his antlers just look angry. You know?
Okay.
Like, that's all I could think about was he just looked mean. Like,
Yeah.
all of his antlers were just, all of his tines were just sharp, pointy, just jagged, just all in different directions. And that's how he is, you know? Like,
Yeah.
he's,
Good character.
his G3 just has this pointing completely forward,
Yep.
like a crab claw from hell. Like, his main beams just swoop out like crazy. And
And they swoop in. That's a big characteristic
Yeah,
of, that,
it's just-
of that area.
then I, like, if you look at him like dead forward, it's kind of funny because like this side right here, his right side kind of like sticks out in front of his face. And then the other side kind of just falls off to the left.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like cattywampus.
Oh, snap.
You
You
know?
swoop up.
Like this comes
Yeah.
out
Lot
in front
of
of his
those deer.
face, and then this one
Yeah.
kind of just drops off the side, like his antlers are like crooked, you know.
Yeah, a little bit.
But,
yeah, he's got like something going on there.
got
Yeah,
some
he's just real
Ron
cool,
Polish shit
super
going on.
super thick. I liked that, you know, he was rubbing some stuff. He got that in his antlers.
Oh yeah, he's covered right now.
Split
He's still
G2,
covered with
super
bark.
cool. I like
He's
that. Like
kind
when-
of cattywampus, huh?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's almost like it. You should call him like Eileen.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, like you got to look at him kind of with like a
he's got
lean
like
to the
a
right.
little. Yeah,
So
like
me and
a-
Charles were guessing. Well, I guessed 129 and a half was my original guess, and then I went down to like 128, whatever. And he ended up measuring 131 and 5/8.
5/8, yeah.
I
Great
guessed
buck,
it.
man.
I guessed it to the 8th inch, by the way.
After measuring him, you did.
All right. Well, let's be honest here, okay?
I didn't add it all up, but I am an accountant.
I did not. It had no play in it.
That
My-
was like Rain Man shit.
was-
Like, did.
It's fucking weird. It was really weird because, like, at first, I think I was telling him, you know, I think he's gonna go at least 130 with mass and whatnot. He'll be over 130, but I don't even know if I made a guess initially.
I would have said high
It
20s.
was it was high 120s, and then like I had the chance to measure him, and I measured him out, and I'm like, man, this deer, like the more based on like looking at him and looking at the one on the wall I have that was 126, I'm like, this deer's bigger than him.
Yeah.
Like he's bigger. He doesn't have the spread, but neither did that buck, and that other buck didn't have the beams, but this one does, and I'm like, dude, I'm telling you right now, like I think he's gonna go over 130. And I was gonna text Joe, and I deleted the text. I was gonna say, I'll bet you, because I asked him any last guesses. I measured them all out and everything. I didn't add anything up. I literally just measured them out, wrote down the numbers on a notepad on the tailgate, closed it up, put it in my pocket, and I started texting him. I was thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna text him. This deer's gonna go between 131 and 133. And I was like, don't do that. That's dumb. Like I hate when people do that because it's like, yeah, okay, you got it right. Woohoo. I was like, pick a number in your head. So I closed my eyes And the first number I came to my head was like 131 and 5/8. So I text Joe. I said, I bet you he goes 131 and 5/8. So I walked in the house. 10 minutes later, did whatever, pulled the
He said he
notebook out.
thinks, and I'm like, okay, that's his measurement. What are you thinking about? You know, like he already measured him, but
No, and I pulled out the notebook and I started adding everything up and writing it down and totaling. I'm like, okay, left side was 54, and then there was all the 8s to add. Afterwards, I was like, well, damn, this is the best side yet of the 3 bucks I've measured this year. My buck, Sam's buck, and Joe's buck. And the other side was like 56 first number. And I'm like, damn, that's a good freaking deer. But dude, he's only 13 and something inches wide.
He's not real wide.
He's
tight.
super tight in the way like the
real
antlers-
narrow. I knew he was
super
narrow
narrow.
to begin with, but like when I originally saw him, all I saw was just straight up, and I saw just this mass at the base.
Yeah, he's got big bases.
You know
Oh
what I'm
my
saying?
God,
Like I
yeah.
just saw the mass at the base, and just I don't even know how to mount him because like I don't know what to remember him as other than just like staring at me when I was snort wheezing at him, like just mean, dude.
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, he's over 5 at the bases.
Oh yeah, he
Both
would be.
bases.
But I
he's
told
5
them
and
both
like
days.
an
I said
8,
he's
5 and
everything,
3/8.
but he's everything but wide. You know, he's just
Yeah.
a really cool buck.
Yeah.
Super characteristic.
But I started adding it all up, and sure enough, 131, and I'm adding it, and I'm like, all right, here's this, and that, and I added, and it's 130 is my number, and I got all the 8s to add up, and it's 13 8s. I said that's 131 and 5/8, and I FaceTime Joe. I was like, you got to see my face when I tell you this because I'm not fucking around. Like I did not see this before texting you. Like I just added up the numbers. Here they are. I was like, I fucking guessed it perfectly.
That's awesome.
Spot
man.
on.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
What were you going to bring up, Austin, other than the duck thing? Or
Yeah, I
something
wanted
else?
to know about the duck thing because it was
No, when you said I'm going to bring it up if you forget to bring it up.
Yeah.
it was the
It
duck
was
thing.
the duck thing.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to
to
bring up the fact that Charles said on the last podcast after when we did his buck, he was like, watch, Joe's going to shoot teardrop or something because he's always one-upping me. I kept telling for letting him know. I'm like, you know, I'm mad Charles is going to be right because he said I keep one-upping him.
I ain't mad. I ain't mad, bro.
That's awesome.
Russ killed Teardrop without Teardrop. I'm mad
Yeah,
about that.
that's the thing.
I told Joe he wasn't allowed to
Maybe
shoot
we'll-
him if he didn't have his fucking teardrop.
Yeah,
You can't shoot the deer without a teardrop.
It's
that's
still
his
a great
name.
deer
That's
without
his
it.
name.
Yeah, but you can't. You just can't.
Hope the teardrop's back next year.
Right? You got to wait another year.
Dude, he would have been a
Dude, my God.
Dude.
Oh,
stupid.
have you seen that deer in person yet?
No. I just saw pictures and he's a beast.
Pictures. Nope.
He's a beast in pictures, dude.
He is, but he's not.
He is, but he's
You got to
not.
hold that deer. It's so framey, sickening.
11.5-inch G2 on the one side.
Good gravy,
stupid.
man.
The frame on that deer is unbelievable.
How did you measure that G2? That split.
Did
Did you go off the front or the back?
Front.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. This is the main deer.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was kind of wondering.
This was
if you
the
went-
extra point.
Okay. That's what I was wondering.
Would you have done the same?
I would have went with the front one.
Really?
Yeah. And I'd have called that
Hmm.
back one the abnormal.
I mean, in all reality, it doesn't measure any.
Just because
differently, right?
it makes more sense to me if you're following his right side, left side.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that one wanted to do the exact same thing.
It wanted to. Dude, he'd have been freaking gnarly if he did.
Yeah,
that.
he
Holy
wanted to
crap.
split that other one too. I didn't
Yeah,
think about
so-
that. I just read the grain in the antlers, and I went straight up.
Yeah, I was just curious. It's not going to really make a difference or anything like that,
Mm-mm.
but I was wondering how you did that.
Yeah. Yep. I went straight
Yeah,
up. This was
but-
9, almost 10 inches.
Yeah,
This was like 3.5.
yeah, really freaking cool buck.
Then
What
this
a way
one
to
was
top
almost
off the
9. This one's 8.5.
Archery season, though, you
G3.
know. So
Yeah, he's got 8.5-inch G3 on the
8.5
freaking
inch
right
G3
side.
straight out, pointing towards you.
It's crazy, man.
Like this dude was just absolutely annihilating other deer with the freaking G3.
yeah, his one ear was split back real far, dude. He had pus all in his one eye. Like his eye was real pussy when
Yeah.
we pulled him up. What the hell happened here, dude? Eye
Yeah.
boogers.
That thing right there, like that G3 on there, makes you like that's the kind of buck that mistakenly gets locked up with another deer because that thing
Mhm.
swoops so hard.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got a cool little like.
He's got a lot of stuff
beam.
on him that like wanted to throw points, but it didn't.
Yeah, his beam like blades out right
Yeah,
at the end.
right at the end, and it gets real
And then
narrow.
this one too, like this swoop,
Yeah.
like you were talking about. How many big 8 points we have in that area with that swoop up?
They
at the
they
end?
all have that swoop, man.
The one he shot 2 years ago. The
Yeah.
swoops on both sides.
that one I shot swoop. Your
Yeah.
All 8
big one
points,
swoops,
man.
My big one is swoops. Like they're all swoop. Like it's so crazy.
like a hard swoop. Like it goes
Yeah.
out and it comes right back in.
Was your 2017 buck down there? Was he a mainframe 8? I know you ended up being like a 10 or 11
I think
or
he
something.
had 11 or 10 total,
Mhm.
but he had broken points. I think he was a 10 with a broken point. He would have been a 12 in total,
Yeah.
but yeah, he would have been a mainframe 8, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he had some kickers. He had a broken he had 2 broken points. He would have been a 12.
Super cool, man.
145.
Super cool.
That was a nice one.
Well, congratulations, my man.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
always
You're
cool
having a
'cause
good season.
that area, man, we were so unsure about it. Like I found that dead buck in the creek
Yeah.
early on, and I've been hearing rumors about EHD up north,
Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, don't tell me like, our property's going to be ruined up there.
He was on a doe, though, this little guy right there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up too, like at one point there, I noticed myself this year just getting so fixated on just intel from cameras.
Yeah.
It just started, just becoming like, I felt like I was just chasing camera sign. I felt like less of a hunter, and I can't tell you how much fun I had those 2 days chasing after him.
That's cool.
Because I
man.
went into that property with no data at all. Charles had a camera up early, and I think it died early. So we had no clue what was in there, what I was going to run into. So just getting back to like just hunting,
right.
like we talked about before about cell cameras. Sometimes it takes away from that.
That mystery, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And just getting back to hunting, like that day, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to hunt, just have fun, just hunt, like you're a hunter. Come on.
I mean, it's easy.
And then
to
the
do.
next day, like figuring out that tree, getting to the right spot, the wind ended up being perfect. Like we kind of figured the wind the day before, but it was a touch off, but it was still set up about the same.
It's funny because in his Snapchat, he was kind of doing like that pan of his area, and I'm like, the whole time he's showing me, and like his right side of the tree is like the beautiful spot, and I'm like, you do know you're supposed to set up your strong spot to that left, right?
Well, like I said,
I was like, dude,
I kind of got like just
that's
bullied
looking-
into that one spot because
I'm like, that's looking pretty good over there to your right.
the tree was so countered. I was pretty much like hanging on a swing all day.
Yeah.
It was so bent over and countered that way that I could not go any other way. And I'm like, you know what? Weak side, whatever.
Yeah.
It
So
ain't a fun shot to.
no, I mean, I had so much fun those 2 days, that Thursday and Friday, just getting back to hunting. And then Saturday I took off. I caught him up, and then Sunday I went down to our one doe spot out in Butler and hunted that. And it was just great end of the season.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
The whole thing, though, man, like trail cameras and whatnot. Like, if you're only hunting 2 days a week, that intel is priceless.
You have to have it.
That's why I kept calling you so much, because you've been hunting more than I have. I'm trying to get the intel from the cameras, get intel from you, see what you're thinking on what, you've been doing, because you were out there more than I have been. So it's just like, what are you thinking? What have you seen? What are you seeing on camera? What are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. And, just spitballing, like just throwing our ideas around. Like,
That's what guys are for, man. Your
Right.
buddies. You got to bounce ideas off everybody.
And nobody really knows that area back there better than I do. I mean, I spent the most time back there. I spent a lot of time in the off season scouting that this year.
yeah, I
Which
didn't
is-
step foot. I didn't even step foot on that property this year. I mean, I kind of hunted off to the side once.
But the
This
crazy
year, and that
part
was it.
like that camera I had back there. I didn't see a single buck all year on it, and usually I had buck all over it.
Last year was crazy.
Yeah, but this year was like all doe, and then it died. It was
Yep.
like, dude, I don't know. Last I know, it was like mid-October, and it's been doe factory. I said, well, which is a good thing. If that means there's got to be bucks back there.
They're going to be back there at some
Right,
point.
like,
Yeah.
there's
Like I
that
said,
many
like
doe.
that area, when it's hot. Like when I shot my buck back here. So I only hunted that spot, that exact spot, like four times.
Yeah.
One time, two of the times I shot a big buck. The other time I saw a big buck, and then the other time I fell out of my tree. So
Kind of. You dangled. You
I
never really
dangled
fall.
out of my
Christmas
tree.
Yeah, Christmas ornament.
That was a crazy story there.
Freaking
Oh, man.
shirtless. I don't even know. Shirtless Steve. Freaking orange vest.
Oh, man. That's fun. That's fun.
All right, boys. Well, that was a good one. That
Yeah.
was a good one. Yeah. Well, next episode, maybe update on the Ohio hunt that we had.
Yep. It's going to be good, man.
Heartbreaking.
Well,
Mm.
it's probably going to come out the day before first day of gun season. So
Good luck to everybody that goes out.
Yeah. Good
Shoot
luck.
straight. Wear your safety harness.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I would like to post this soon. So we missed last week. I'm thinking we'll get this turned around before the season for sure.
Yeah.
Be safe out there. Please, please, please be safe. Rifle hunting scares the shit out of me.
Pay attention to what you're shooting at.
Yeah.
Again, if you're in a blind, throw orange up.
Yeah.
Please.
Because you see too much of it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to wear orange.
I don't know how many times I've gotten 40 yards away from a blind and just went, oh, there's a blind there.
Yeah.
And then a dude pokes his head out. You're like, dude, there's no orange on that.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
honestly.
Oh, drives me nuts, man.
Yeah.
You just got to do
You gotta
a
bring that up.
little.
Just saying,
a little
man.
spat
Like
with
some
somebody about
stuff
orange.
like that,
I
people just
did,
don't
yeah.
understand.
Turned out good, but yeah.
Yeah. Regardless.
Regardless,
Wear your
everybody,
orange.
be safe, have fun,
Good luck.
good luck.
Share with us your kills. That makes it a lot easier on us. Trying to announce. If you just tag us on a post, something, whatever.
Yeah,
Let us know you killed something. We're interested, man. We're right there for you. We're rooting for everyone.
absolutely.
All right.
All right, boys.
Anything
Until next
else?
week.
The distraction is real.
Distraction's real.